So, random thought, whatever. Anyways, scrolling through my Facebook. I'm gay, so there's I guess I like the Wipe Out Homophobia page on Facebook, and I have gay friends or whatever that post marriage equality pictures and blah blah blah. It gets kind of annoying after a while because it's pretty much the same argument over and over again. But maybe it's because I'm tired, so I'm like thinking about things that I don't normally think about. But a lot of the times, one of the arguments is, like it'll show a white person and a black person in a heterosexual relationship, but the things like our marriage used to be illegal too. I saw a picture just now, which is what instigate this current thought process. Um, it said white. Hold on, where is it? Hold on. I'm not being one of those weird people who I'm looking for what I was talking about. Blah 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 blah. Gay, straight, black, white marriage is a civil right. Um, and that I guess got me thinking. Whenever you talk about interracial marriage laws and everything else, it's always about a white person and a black person being together. Which okay, which kind of makes me think, what about different races? Because obviously there's more than two races in the world. I'm like, what was kind of the legal standpointing on that? And I tried googling it, even searching like non-white, non-black, and everything else. Like, what about if someone from India wanted to marry, they've been living in Canada or U.S. or whatever, like someone of Indian descent, meaning India, because I do not use the term Indian when talking about Native Americans. Um, were to want to marry someone of Asian descent. Um, the reason why I said Oriental at first, because India is technically a part of Asia, or say if they want to marry, if one of those racial groups wanted to marry someone who was Native American or Hispanic or whatever, like all the other races, what was the kind of laws pointing on that? Because there's all a lot about like white and black people. I found a lot of stuff like saying the sort of thing like keeping the races together and blah blah blah, but they weren't really. But it was kind of like going on about like white and black people kind of treat like what I was finding on Google, because Google is rather inspecific. It takes your keywords and gives you a bunch of crap on those keywords, and obviously interracial marriage automatically comes to that. So I'm just curious, like, about what was the dealio with that, or even if what if a black person wanted to marry a Hispanic person or something, would that be illegal, or Native American or whatever else, and kind of or like maybe not legal, but like still have the social be as frowned upon, because I know there's some places in the States, and I suppose actually I worked with some people who were against interracial marriage, and that kind of was like, it's 2013 and you live in Canada. Then again, these same people were surprised to find out that gay marriage has been legal in Canada for 8 years, and that there are gay people in comic books, because they found out that my comic has a gay person in it. So they're like, oh, where are you going to end? Like, no one's going to publish you that for that. And I'm like, I can name like 5 characters in mainstream comics, like superheroes, Marvel and DC, that are gay. And anyway, so that wasn't much of a surprise that came out of her, because she doesn't even know how to use a fucking computer. She's like stuck from like 40 years ago. But like there are places in the States where it's like really like it's common. I've seen in the few reality type shows. Like I remember one time I was watching an NY Inc. episode or something, or I don't know if it was one of those Inc. shows, and they were talking about how there's this girl who's like from this place where they still have like a black prom and a white prom, and I was like, holy fuck. And then the What Would You Do kind of show, where like they kind of put these situations and see what bystanders should do, and one of them was the whole reaction to like a father having a negative reaction to, like, he and his daughter are white and then her boyfriend's black, and no one did anything about it, and everyone was like supporting it, but they interviewed afterwards, and it's kind of like, so there's places that are like that, which I find surprising. But I'm wondering, as far as social standpoint or legality or whatever else, if anyone knows what what's it like for, like, if say like there isn't a white person involved, or there's not even a black person involved, what that kind of interracial kind of thing works. Because oftentimes when you talk about interracial racial issues, it's always white and black. Well, not always, but it's very frequently, or maybe that's just because of a cultural thing, because I live in North America where that was a whole thing. But it seems like that's always the issue, is the white and black, or white people mostly, but the kind of interraciality is like the that, which is kind of interesting because a lot of these issues, you know, people think it's white and black, it's either evil or good, but along with a lot of social issues, it's a lot of gray, which is a joke that one of my brother's friends who had a white parent and a black parent, he called himself gray as a kid, because he's a kid. Sorry, that just made me think about that. I'm not saying that interracial people are gray. That's another thing. When you say interracial, most, like when it's like, oh, it's like, oh, she's a black person, oh, she's a white person, or whatever, when you're describing someone's appearance, you say interracial, everyone just goes, oh, half white, half black, or whatever. But I'm like, you can be interracial of races that aren't white or black. Like, I knew someone who was interracial. She was half, she was, well, yeah, she was really interracial, actually, because she was part Native American, part Asian, and I think a little bit, like a teeny bit of Hispanic or something. There was a third one in there. Anyway, so it's kind of like, interracial isn't a very good description for someone because it's not very thing. Oh, also, if anyone gets mad at me for saying the word black, it is not offensive, okay? Because not everyone, like, I don't say African American because not everyone who is black, it descends from Africa and is an American citizen. In high school, there's a girl in my class. Her family's from Caribbean, like Haiti area, and she's Canadian. Actually, she has dual citizenship because she grew up mostly in England, and then she moved here, so she's dual citizenship for England and Canada, so she's definitely not African American. Best friend in college, my first time I tried college, he was a Jamaican foreign student, like he was studying in Canada, but he's like Jamaican. And a guy in my class right now is, where is he from? He's from, I think he's from, I can't remember, I just remember hearing it offhand. I'm like, geez, all the black people I get to know aren't actually from Africa descended. Because you can be from the Caribbean area, you can be from Africa, yes, but you can also be from Australia's or Aboriginal Ease, like, you know, the native people of Australia type area, in New Zealand area, they're black too, the natives. So, I mean, you really, the African American, I find it really doesn't apply, especially considering I live in Canada, so they're definitely not African American because they're more likely than not going to be Canadian with some sort of descendant. Like, we call me white, we call, yeah, like, you say brown, so for some people when they talk about Indians, like Russell Peters I know does that a lot. Like, I'm not, like, half French Canadian, half, or quarter Irish Canadian, quarter Scottish Canadian, or whatever. I'm just Canadian, or I'm just white. Although I do look French because I take after my dad, but I've been told that. If you don't find it, whatever, but I've been told I look French. And I am just talking about things that weren't even on topic anymore, so I'm just going to end the video right now. Sorry about that.